Hello everyone, and I hope you're doing fantastic in the start of this month, which of course being June as I'm recording this. Now for those of you who tuned into this video who haven't seen my Discord post or my post on the community tab, which is basically the same message, I had been wanting to get back into reviews for quite some time, but hadn't really thought of the proper format to do so and if I had time to even make one happen. But since I'm back to being a one-job Andy, I feel like I have the best time right now to actually talk about movies because I love movies so damn much and I really want people to be able to see stuff that I actually got to see. Now, obviously, you should take my thoughts and criticisms with a grain of salt because, again, everybody is going to have a different opinion based on movies. Now, I also want to mention that before making this video, I am going to be using some highlights from my streams just in case if I talked about them. I also should apologize in advance for some of the highlights as the music that I was playing during that time was louder than I wanted it to be. But I hope it doesn't ruin the experience for you when I'm trying to convey my thoughts about the movies. So let's talk about these movies and give my 2 cents on how I feel about them. Now, starting things off here is Mickey 17, which I know it's not actually part of the spring season, but I wanted to at least try to get something close to the start of it, so I feel like in that aspect, it kind of counts. Now, I shall say that this was definitely an interesting watch, considering that Parasite swept the Oscars and Cannes Film Festival 6 years ago and is widely considered to be Bong Joon-ho's magnum opus. So obviously this was going to be a really tough challenge to try to beat, which I wasn't expecting that to do. I will say that the sci-fi aesthetics for this movie, despite being on the more expensive side of the production budget, was very intriguing. I can understand why people were not ready to get into this movie because of this unique premise, but I will say that Robert Pattinson's performance in this movie is definitely the most unique. Almost in the same vein as that of Jim Carrey in Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. But another film later in this video shows that a movie can be successful with multiple performances by the same actor. Parvulos is a bit of an interesting take on the zombie apocalypse. Whereas some zombie movies like Zombieland will have some sort of an effect on a person based on disease, the way that this trope is used here in this movie is very unique, and it definitely screamed undertones of the pandemic we faced 5 years ago. Now, I should go on to say that if you are expecting this to be more of a traditional zombie movie, you are going to be sorely disappointed because it is not that kind of movie. I will say that one of the scenes in this movie left me tense and on edge until the music completely subsided. Hell, even the scenes where they're butchering up forest animals, and in some way it reminded me of this game that I remember hearing about called It's Not Me, It's My Basement. I will say that the relationship dynamic between the undead parents and their children was unorthodox but very wholesome by the time that the film wrapped. Overall, I wouldn't call it a bad experience at all, but it's definitely not something I would be thinking about anytime soon. I guess I can talk about the movie, because I went to go see Sinners. I'll probably pull up the trailer for you if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about. I went to go see it last night officially. I thought going into this was going to be pretty cheesy, because like the trailers for, at least in my opinion, made it seem like it was going to be pretty cheesy. Like bad movie kind of cheesy, but I was actually really surprised. Like I thought it was going to be proven right at the beginning of the movie, because there are a few scares at the beginning, but the scares are much more sparsed out, so I'm happy on that regard. I'm glad the movie didn't rely on them heavily. It kind of felt like a YouTube video, like with like an over edited YouTube video with like the, at least me personally, it felt like an over edited YouTube video with the scares at the beginning. That aspect of the movie is just what I'm only going to spoil just for those of you who do not like jump scares, but the rest of the movie, I'm gonna just keep this as brief as I possibly can. Okay, with my review. So I thought everyone did fantastic. Obviously, I think the performance of Michael B. Jordan and I'm trying to remember what the young actor's name is who played this young guitarist right here. I don't remember their name. They also were fantastic in their role. So solid performances all around. I loved this. I loved the vibe this movie was getting. It definitely, I definitely got like that Jordan Peele feel to it. Which isn't a bad thing. But like, I felt like amplified by 100. But like, at least my opinion, better done than at least like the films that I have. At least like the recent film I had seen from Jordan Peele, not Nope, but Us, which, you know, Us wasn't bad. It's just like, it wasn't as like, you know, it wasn't as enjoyable as Get Out. I kept on saying recent film that I've seen, Us, which, like, when I saw that, it was actually, you know, more like a couple months after that movie came out in theaters. But yeah, like, it definitely felt like a Jordan Peele movie, but like better, in my, at least my personal opinion. And that's not to diss Jordan Peele as the filmmaker. I think he's pretty fine. But you know, Ryan Coogler and his team did a great job on this, and I'm happy. I will say that on my post on Blue Sky, I will say this: like the IMAX like viewing that I went to go see, yeah, it wasn't that impressive. Like you know, like I love it, like every shot of this movie. Like this every shot was great, but I felt like, you know, watching it in IMAX felt a little cheesy. But, you know, I still enjoyed my experience nonetheless. And, you know, just like I mentioned with before I bought the ticket, the IMAX theater, like, surprisingly was almost filled halfway. Like, I was also surprised. I was also surprised that there was almost half the theater was filled. Which, I mean, again, because like of, you know, the timing with Passover and Easter for those celebrating and whatnot. But, you know, still pleasant to see for an original project. You know, like at least at the theater I normally go to for IMAX. Awesome to see. You know, some, you know, people crawling back slowly. And honestly, I want to see more of that happening for original movies, and, you know, not just the same driving everybody to the theater for IP bullshit. This is awesome. Like, this is a completely original movie. I tried when I looked this up online. This is not based on like any like novels or whatnot. This is a completely original screenplay, and it's well done. Oh, did I hit the wrong one? Okay, I probably hit the wrong one. All right, third time's a charm. I want to go see Friendship. So yeah, I heard pretty decent things about this movie. Okay. Not the one I want, not the application I wanted to go full screen on. I wanted to go full screen on. Okay, yeah, I was already at full screen on Firefox. All right, but yeah, I went to go see Friendship. I had a fun time. Interestingly, the theater I went to go see that, there's a nice half-size theater. It was kind of similar to when I went to go see what movie was it? Sinners. It was similar, like in terms of like audience. When I went to go see Sinners, in that I almost thought like the audience that I was sitting with, I was sitting around, which I should probably clarify, they're probably a mix of like some high schoolers and some like college kids in the room, and like the occasional you know, millennial and Gen Xer in the room. So yeah, that was basically the room last night, or like the 9:45 showing for this movie. I just know this group, like this first group that I saw when I was after I picked up my popcorn to go get my ticket. I thought they were going to I thought they were like the ones to go see like the Mission Impossible or the the Stitch movie, the live action Stitch. And I was actually wrong. I was wrong. They were in my theater. When I heard the theater number, I was like, that's the same theater I'm going. That's my theater. What the fuck? They're in my theater. No, but I mean, like, they weren't. I wouldn't call them disruptive, because again, like for the most part throughout the entire movie, like there were like very few times when the movie was actually playing where there were some in the group that were maybe like muttering something, but for the most part, still solid experience, like in theater, even though I had to do some driving again. And when I say some driving, I mean like in like the 20 plus minutes just to get to see the movie, because like it is not playing like quote unquote locally, because again, like the closest theaters I have are like 10, like on a good day for this to go see the movie is like 10 minutes, 15. So, prior to like this movie, I haven't really heard like a lot about Paul Robinson as like as an actor, or like a comedian and whatnot. So I wasn't sure the type of comedy like that like he usually goes for, like going into this movie. But I was still happy with his performance. I think he was still great. He definitely like did very well to give that awkward dad energy, but also just like by far, at least right now, like the most out of touch character like in like modern movies. When I say out of touch, I'm not meaning like the actors out of touch. Like no, I'm talking about like the character is like so purposely written like for them to be so out of touch that like they do the dumbest shit imaginable. So and that's again that is probably gonna be the only thing I'm going to like actually spoil about this, because I'd rather this be something you need to go see in theaters like right now if it's playing near you. If it's not playing near you, it's all right. It's no biggie if you want to wait for it to come out in digital or ideally physical media, for all my physical media enthusiasts. If it actually comes to physical media, I don't know if it will or if it won't, but who knows, or who knows if it even will show up on the A24 shop as an exclusive Blu-ray or something. I don't know. But yeah, movie was fine. It had some good laughs, I'll say at the beginning, and some good laughs spread out as well. I think if you're a fan of Tim Robinson, you'll probably enjoy this movie. I still enjoyed this movie on its own. I'm not really familiar enough with Paul Robinson's work, so I'd still say this is a good watch. Obviously, Paul Rudd's good as well. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting movie. I'll say it. When I saw like the trailer for like the reason like this being like the best comedic movie of the year, I feel like I'm questioning that at the moment, but I still think it's there in like the top like 5 like at the moment, because again I want to see the rest of this year as far as like comedic delivery goes, like with movies. I thought there might be like more out there, but I'd be surprised if there were not many good comedies this year, and this actually is still that just becomes like number 1. But yeah, this is definitely a top 5, not number 1, but a top 5 of like my favorite unique comedies of the year, or favorite comedies of the year in general. Like even I'm not like actively searching for them, but yeah. So this movie and the next entry are the only ones I watched directly through streaming, preferably in this case Tubi. Now, I don't know if they're still available by the time I upload this video, but it is where I found them, and it's also where I brought the need to make these reviews happen. Now, I remember seeing promos for In Fabric around the release of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I initially shook it off as I wasn't sure I was going to enjoy the movie. Since it's been over 5 years since its release, I can confidently say that I was very much in the wrong. It's pretty great and rather unique, almost as if I was watching a demented 70s horror show. The main story of this movie revolves around the stress that Sheila, portrayed by Marianne Jean-Baptiste, picks up at a department store and is too good for her. So much so that it actually starts to tear into her skin and is very sentient. Now, this was the first film I watched from director Peter Strickland, and it's a decent introduction to his filmmaking style. It even has a fittingly unique theme that's played throughout the entire film score. And it was even more cool to see the perspective of the dress in another owner of it at one point in time, because man oh man, it definitely brings a little bit more of a backstory. It's very eerie in nature, and I honestly wished I'd catch this sooner. I can't really say much more about this other than if you love this type of horror that I'm talking about, and even if you just love something that just takes place in a fashion sense that is using horror elements, please consider watching this at some point. Alright, so we're talking about one more film from Bong Joon-ho, which I wanted to see for quite some time now, but because of work and whatnot, and also just general lack of interest initially, I'm more than happy that I finally got to watch this movie, even though I started it like at the bare end of May and into this month. But it's alright because the spring hasn't really ended yet, so I still got time. So generally speaking, I'm not necessarily the biggest of fans when it comes to crime thrillers, with the exception of course of Long Legs, which shocked me, and also Silence of the Lambs. But I will say I had an absolute fun time watching Memories of Murder, especially in the use of comedic timing, considering I already loved Parasite. So yeah, I'm really happy to see that even in this movie it's present. I love it when movies like this don't take itself too seriously, yet they also take it pretty seriously at the same time. It's madness and I love it. If it also wasn't obvious, I love Song Kang-ho's performance in this, much like with his later work in Parasite, but I'll also give the rest of the cast their due respect because they also did phenomenal in their individual performances. I can definitely say that I felt pretty on edge when it came to its ending because man, oh man, it was something else. The twist that this film gave to me is honestly so unique and I adore it. I'm just very sad that I didn't see this movie much later, but it's alright because this was a great send-off to an awesome season of binge watching. And now the actual final movie I wanted to discuss for this video because I feel like that Memories of Murder wasn't exactly the one that I wanted to end things off on, but it was still awesome. So I'm going to quickly talk about the most recent movie I just saw last night. And that of course would be Bring Her Back. So I had seen the director's previous film, which I can pull out right now. This is directed by Danny and Michael Filippo, who directed their debut in Talk to Me, which I have on 4K Blu-ray. Awesome movie. You should definitely watch that. Especially great depiction of social media, because social media is used very well in this. But anyway, the movie came out yesterday. I went to a 7 o'clock screening for this. I didn't have much expectations going into it. I wasn't totally sure if I would still enjoy it compared to their first movie, but it's safe to say that I still enjoyed it. I'm still happy with it. Andy and Piper, the two children whose dad just died and now are in the process of looking for a caretaker, except the older brother, Andy, wants to be the guardian for Piper, but he is not old enough. And so in the meantime, until he gets old enough, he has to still stay by Piper's side as they settle in a new home with this counselor of like 20 years, Laura, portrayed by Sally Hawkins, as you can see right here. But in there lies a bit of a dark secret to her environment. It's this secret that starts to plague the relationship with Andy, Piper, and Laura. But again, I will not spoil what that is, but you will know when you go see the movie. But yeah, that's plot wise as far as I remember. I will say that this was beautifully shot. There were some pretty decent shots of like nature, of like up close painting shots and whatnot. The cast did a phenomenal job, likewise with the previous film, especially in the case of Sally Hawkins, who gave a commanding performance as Laura, the new guardian to Andy and Piper. I don't want to say she has split personalities, but like there's definitely a side to her character that is very much wrong, and Sally does very well to convey that in her performance. Music wise, I'd probably say in comparison to Danny and Michael's first movie, is very beautiful. I'd say even more so. For right now, this is probably like second to like Sinners as far as like emotionally hitting scores. And speaking of emotionally hitting, the horror isn't like as strong as their debut in Talk to Me, but it still hits on a really deep level and still hits all the emotional beats that you expect, like in the best way possible. Other than that, I don't really have much else to say about this other than go see it. It's still a wonderful time. I will say that if you're not a fan of gore, you're probably gonna want to sit this out. I mean, there's not a lot of it, but like, still, if you really find gore like gross, you're not gonna want to sit through this. But that being said, it's not that long of a movie. If you have to look away at the gore, but no, I still enjoyed it, even if I had to turn my head a bit, because again, gore can of course be uncanny, but I was able to get through the movie fine. And that's everything I've seen throughout the season so far. Now, if there's anything you want me to watch next that is coming out pretty soon, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. Since I have more time these days, I want to try to watch more movies as best as I possibly can, but I also want to be very careful with how much I spend on going to see them. Especially since I'm also trying to save for my SGDQ reservations, so that's also a thing. And I can't wait to do another one of these videos sometime again in the future. I was really hoping to get back into reviews, and this is just definitely the step in the right direction to just take it easy and just talk about whatever I had in my mind and just spew it out. If you want to go check out my latest review before I made this video, go check out the Talk to Me review right there on the left side of the screen. If you don't care about that movie and you want to go for a general video essay, click the video right on the right side. But other than that, I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone.